Hi everybody, I recently bought a Canon M50 primarily to use for video, but it takes pretty good stills too, so I bought one with a couple kit lenses. The camera came with a 15 to 45 millimeter zoom lens, and I also bought in the package a 55 to 200 millimeter zoom. As with all kit lenses, they're a little bit on the cheap side with plastic mounts, but what I really wanted to use were my EF lenses that I use on my DSLRs. So after watching a few YouTube videos, everybody seemed to like the Vitrox EF-EOS M2 adapter. So it's not perfect, but it's very reasonably priced at $156, so I went and picked one up. And I'm really glad I did. I was pleasantly surprised by the quality of this adapter. It feels nice and solid. The glass is nice and clear, the metal's nice, the contacts look good, and you can't see it in this picture, but there's a little micro USB port where you update firmware. So here you can see the size relationship between the Vitrox adapter and the Canon M50, but if you put anything next to an M50, it's going to look big. The M50 is a really small camera, and if you're a DSLR shooter like I am, I usually use a Canon 5D Mark III. It's a world of difference. It takes a little bit of getting used to such a tiny camera. So the lenses I used were a 35mm f1.2 Canon EF lens, an 85mm f1.8, and a 24 to 70 f4 zoom. According to the manual, you have to mount the adapter and the lenses to the camera in a specific order. First, you're supposed to mount the lens to the adapter, then mount that assembly on the camera. The same thing when you remove the lens from the camera. You take it off as a unit from the adapter and then disassemble it. So here's the 35mm lens mounted to the adapter on the M50. The lens looks huge on this camera, but for example, if you took this same lens, put it on a 5D Mark III, it'd look tiny. So here's some shots with the 35mm lens mounted on the Vitrox adapter. The Vitrox is a magnifier which covers the entire sensor, which almost turns this M50 into a full-frame sensor camera. I shoot all the time with my full-frame 5D Mark III, and looking at the images, they kind of look the same. And in almost all of these shots, I shot wide open. One nice property of the Vitrox adapter is it gives you an extra stop. So for this and the 35mm lens, I was really shooting at about f1.2. Here's some shots taken with a 24 to 70 f4 lens. I use this lens on my 5D Mark III full-frame camera. First off, I thought I'd try a macro shot, and it works pretty good. The 24 to 70 is really a good sharp lens, and it works really well on this little M50. I shot at different focal lengths, and it seemed to work pretty well everywhere. Here's where I really saw a difference using a Canon 85mm f1.8 lens. I shot wide open and the adapter bumped it down to f1.2. Autofocus worked really well with this adapter, so I have no complaints there. The Canon 85mm f1.8 lens is probably the most dramatic lens that I have. It's great for images like this, and it's great for portraits too. Finally, we'll take a look at the Canon Kit Lenses. First, we'll start with a 15 to 45mm lens. It's not bad, but it's nowhere near the quality of the other lenses. The 15 to 45mm zoom is an f3.5 lens, and the f-stop just stops down dramatically as you zoom in on a subject. So that could be a really limiting factor for this lens. These last couple shots were taken with the 55 to 200mm zoom. They're not bad, but they lack the clarity and sharpness of a good lens. One thing I'm really paranoid about is touching the sensor when the lens is off the camera body. The sensor is right there. It's not like a DSLR way back behind the mirror. It's almost right at the front. If you touch it, it's all over for this camera. You just have to be really, really careful about changing lenses, especially out in the field. I'm really happy I bought the Vitrox adapter, and I'm probably going to use it all the time and not use the kit lenses. One caveat I've heard about with this adapter is that it still draws power even if the camera is off, so you need to take the adapter off when you're done shooting. Using this adapter has just opened up a whole new world using the Canon M50. You can use all of your EF lenses and it just works great. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.